The cutest and most mild-mannered animals often find themselves in the pet trade. But in the wild world of woodland creatures, cute doesn't get you very far. For those creatures that tread the line between those two worlds, not fully domestic but harmless enough to live in homes, they may exhibit some behaviors that baffle their human household companions. These holdovers from their wild kin show us a picture of their life in the wilderness. The adorable Pygmy hedgehog may have some behaviors not dignified in civilized company, though they are vital for their survival in life, death, and taxonomy. Welcome back to Life, Death, and Taxonomy. It's your 30 minutes of interesting animal information. I'm Joe.
And I'm Carlos.
Thank you to Cassie for creating our theme song. To hear more of Cassie's music, search Cassie Michelle on YouTube. And today we're talking about a prickly bush pig, though it's not a pig at all. But more on that later.
Bush pig. Yeah, I guess. Do you ever think about, why J.K. Rowling decided to name the school Hogwarts?
No.
Not pig pimples?
If you...
Not swine sores?
Swine pustules.
Oh,
that's what
delicious. But Hogwarts isn't that much better.
No.
It's such an odd thing. But we're not talking...
It's like a wart hog, only different.
Yeah, but that's an actual hog. And it has warts. This is just... It's just such a weird name for, an eldritch school of magic.
Yeah, I like how there's Ilvermorny. All the other, wizarding schools have, cool names. But Hogwarts is something that over the course of the movies and books, you just it loses its meaning.
Yeah, like Dumbledore. That's a dumb name. When I first heard it, I thought that was a silly name for the most powerful wizard ever. But then by the end of it, I just didn't register with me as being a silly name. Dumbledore. Anyway, we're not talking about Hogwarts or Dumbledore or any of that stuff. We're talking about a hedgehog, which is why
hedgehog
came from this. Yeah, a bush pig.
Oh yeah.
We're talking.
Thank you to Nora who suggested the Pygmy hedgehog.
Yes, thank you, Nora.
She suggested Tenrix, but we've already done a Tenric, but she has, I think, a pet hedgehog,
which is a cute Tenric.
Yeah,
Not quite. But we're talking about the African pygmy hedgehog, which is most likely the one that Nora has as a pet.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to call it here the strong-quilled spike hamster and everybody's favorite speedy cartoon hedgehog, Knuckles. just kidding. It's actually Sonic.
Knuckles is an echidna.
I did not know that. I'm not really a fan of the manga. I don't know what it is. But apparently, yeah, I had to look it up. Knuckles is an echidna. And he's not fast. Yeah. He just punches things.
He can fly, though.
Can he?
Or glide. In the video games, he
like
can.
Like echidnas can? I guess hedgehogs aren't very fast, so they're just really... They're all aliens. It doesn't matter. But let's taxonomize this. So the hedgehog is in a kingdom you know, love, and are in, and that kingdom is the one and only Animalia. The phylum is Chordata. Class is Mammalia. Got a little cute little mammal here. The order is Eulipotifla. Good PHLA there at the end to throw me off. The family is Aranaceidae. Yeah, sure. The genus is Adalarix, which is pretty cool, Adalarix. And the species is Albiventris.
Albus Dumbledore.
No, we're not talking about Dumbledore. So the binomial nomenclature is Adalarix albiventris, which sounds...
That sounds like very Harry Potter.
Yeah, it sounds like definitely what Harry named his son for some reason. Spoiler alert.
Yeah. Harry Potter gets pregnant. Spoilers.
Harry Potter and the insurance nightmare. So since we're in the business of naming things, it's time for my favorite part of the show, and that part of the show is critter groups. part of the show where I ask you, Joe, a question. That question is the same every time. What is the name for a group of this animal? Or what is the collective noun? Or what is the term of venery for this animal? And we are talking about hedgehogs. So, Joe, if you saw a group of hedgehogs, would you say it's A, an array of hedgehogs, B, a blanket of hedgehogs, C, a committee of hedgehogs, or D, a drizzle of hedgehogs?
I'm going to say an array.
Final answer?
Final answer, yep.
Ding, ding, ding. You are correct. It is array.
Woo!
What gave it away?
Array starts with A.
I mean, yeah, they all. I purposely made them all start with their letters.
Yeah, I feel like I've heard blanket and committee before.
Oh man, I need to keep a list of the ones I've already used as dummies, throwaways.
Drizzle had made me think twice.
Have I not done a blanket? I know I've done committee at some point. All right. So yes, an array of hedgehogs. Even though they don't congregate very often, if they do, you use the same term as you would for guns, surface to air guns. I think that's an array.
Isn't it a satellite array as well?
Yeah, I think it's like, and computer chips can be in an array. Anyway, so the hedgehog lives all over the world as a pet, but they're really native to a belt stretching across Central Africa from Sierra Leone all the way to Somalia and Tanzania, from sea to Pirate Sea. It loves grassy fields, open woodlands, low elevations, long walks on the beach, and it prefers dry, warm places. So it actually doesn't like long walks on the beach. But you ready to hear about what this thing looks like?
I sure am.
All right. Well, in case you have no idea what a hedgehog looks like, it is the classic adorical. Yep. It's it can tell the future and it's cute. It is adorable and it's a poke mouse. And it's the same pet that teenagers like to keep curled up in their oversized sweaters. And they're like, "Hey, look, I've got it. My hedgehog is here." I've more than one person I met as a kid had a sugar glider in their sweater. I was
like on the street or
like at school or at like events or birthday parties or something. Like they just open up their sweater and there is a sugar glider hanging out on the inside of their sweater. More than that was at least two people, different people, and I remember I remember wanting one. I remember thinking that was the cool thing to do. Just have an exotic animal perpetually trapped inside of your clothing. Sounds good. I mean, that sounds like a fun time for everybody,
except for maybe
everybody, except for maybe everybody.
Yeah.
So it has an oval shape. The hedgehog has an oval shaped body with a tiny mousy face and little mousy people hands. But it only has 4 toes on its hind legs instead of the usual 5, which is what most other hedgehogs have, apparently. So that's why it's also called the 4-toed hedgehog. It's probably better known by that name than the African pygmy hedgehog. Mm-hmm. It has beady black eyes and a little snout with small rounded ears. But its defining characteristic is the sheet of spikes that cover its back. And we've done the spike teneric before, but take those spikes and double them in density and number. The quills on the back are a mottled brown and cream with cream tips. And the underside fur is kind of like a grayish cream color as well. And the snout is brownish, grayish, kind of getting on the black side. So that's pretty much the hedgehog. But like I said, it can fit in people's sweaters. So how big is it, Joe?
Let's get into this. Welcome to the Beloved Measure Up segment, the official listener's favorite part of the show. The part of the show that's where we present the animal size and dimensions in relatable terms through a quiz that's fun for the whole family. It's also part of the show that's introduced by you when you send an audio of yourself saying, singing, or chittering. The words measure up into ldtextonomy@gmail.com. We don't have a new measure up intro this week. Technically we do, but it came in at the 11th hour.
Yes.
So instead we're going to hear from an animal, and Carlos has to guess what it is.
Bring it on.
Without further ado, the listener's favorite part of the show. Okay.
It sounds like some animals having like a modem connection error.
Is it A, a frog, B, a turtle, C, a mouse, or D, a hedgehog?
I don't know how long hedgehogs would be pets if they made that sound. I'm going to go with, I guess, frog. That makes the most sense to me.
Frog, final answer?
Yeah.
It is a mouse.
Oh, wow. That would have been my... Well, outside of the hedgehog, would have been my last guess.
It's a mouse that's been caught in a cage.
I figured it was distressed.
It's not injured, but it is scared.
I figured it was not a happy animal, whatever it was.
It's kind of a sad... It does look scared. It's a sad video that you can watch on ldtextonomy@gmail.com. Well, you can click the link to watch it. It's not on the website. But let's get into it. Let's talk length. Females are actually bigger on average than males, but generally they can be between 5 and 12 inches or 13 and 30 centimeters. So lucky you, it's about a foot.
Yes.
It's kind of big, bigger than I thought.
Yeah, that is pretty big. That's like decent turtle size.
I think pygmy hedgehogs, I think the ones as pets are typically smaller based on videos.
Yeah, if a foot long hedgehog is a foot is the pygmy one, then are there bigger ones?
Well, a foot long is probably the upper end of normal, which we usually go with.
But still, I'm imagining a hedgehog the size of a cat.
You're probably gonna have a 6-inch hedgehog.
That I can deal with.
So, how many hedgehogs go into the deepest dive into Bosmansgat, a cave in South Africa, also called Bushman's Hole? Here's a hint. The cave is a submerged freshwater sinkhole. So meaning dive, meaning with a, scuba gear. That is thought to have been first explored in modern times in 1977. The deepest recorded dive was achieved by scuba diver Nuno Gomes in 1996. The dive is tough because the hole starts at an altitude of 1,500 meters or 4,900 feet. And it includes complicated decompression.
1,500 feet above sea level?
Yeah.
And it's full of water?
Yeah.
Oh, I guess it's not ocean water. You did say fresh water.
Yes.
Cave diving would probably be my absolute worst nightmare. It
does sound crazy.
That or the Kraken. One of those two things.
It's like two different types of feeling trapped.
It's claustrophobia and also possibly drowning. It's just the worst.
Or possibly the bends. If something goes wrong, and I'll tell you why at the end. I guess this doesn't give anything away. When Gomez reached the bottom of the hole, he got stuck in the mud for 2 minutes before freeing himself. So talk about panic.
Yeah. But if you're down deep enough, oxygen poisoning can actually cause you to not panic.
Oh, nice.
You kind of you mellow out if you're deep enough. If you're getting because you're breathing a really high concentration of oxygen, and so I've heard stories of scuba divers who run out of air or something, or get stung or whatever, and they'll tell the story I should have freaked out, but I was just huh.
So you're basically kind of drunk?
kind of drunk, kind of like, I don't know, maybe high a little bit. You're high on like oxygen. I know you're just you don't feel tense or panicked when you're taking in like a really high concentration of oxygen. So
can they not make a mixture of gases that are more like the atmosphere?
they do, but when the closer you, the further down you get, the more compressed the air gets.
Oh, I see.
Which is why you get the bends, because that air the nitrogen makes its way into your bloodstream at the compressed level, and if you ascend too quickly, that gas goes decompresses really quickly and creates bubbles in your bloodstream. And if you get stuck while cave diving, I feel like the bends is the least of your problems.
Is the bends not absolutely deadly?
No, it's not absolutely deadly. It's incredibly painful, and it can be deadly, but it's less deadly than drowning.
That's true.
Anyway, on that light note, I'm going to say this thing is 1,000 feet.
1,000
No,
feet
that's like too much. I don't even think a person could scuba dive that deep. Or maybe they could, but they would need like Navy SEAL, like rebreather gear and stuff like that. So it might be possible. I'm going to say like 800 feet. So I'll say 800 of these guys.
800 hedgehogs, final answer?
Yes.
The correct answer is 927.
Oh, wow. I was close.
So you're in between your two guesses. Knocking on the door of 1,000.
Yeah, for sure. That's, yeah. At first I thought it was impossible, but...
That's 2,800 or 282.6 meters.
My scuba instructor used to dive for the Navy, and they would spend 6 hours at 800 feet, repairing lines and stuff like that. And there's very little light, and they do use rebreathers and all this stuff, and it's crazy stuff. Wouldn't want to do it.
Yeah, scuba diving seems scary.
I like
Especially
scuba diving,
deep scuba diving,
but not. I don't want to scuba dive deep things like the ocean.
Yeah.
Shallow parts of the ocean is what I want to deep scuba dive. Whatever.
That's where the reefs
I don't
are.
know words.
The cool reefs are.
I don't know words. All right.
If you're down too far, it's harder to see colorful reefs. Except for within the range of your flashlight.
Also, because the wavelengths don't filter down. The
you can't.
Red won't reflect off.
All right.
I'll tell another scuba story. A friend of mine went scuba diving and got stung by a lionfish, and he was about
Oofta.
I think it was about like 65, 70 feet down, and his blood looked green because there was less red light making it down to his where he was, so he couldn't see the red as much. So it's crazy down there. I do enjoy scuba diving. The 2 times that I went, but it's scary stuff.
Ready to hear about weight?
Yep.
They're between 14 and 39 ounces, or 400 and 1,110 grams. So, how many hedgehogs go into the heaviest pig in history?
Oh man, that's got to be pretty big.
Here's a hint: the pig was named Big Bill, and he was a Poland-China breed. He was owned by a man named Elias Buford Butler, because of course, and he made record weight in Jackson, Tennessee in 1933. It's crazy. Like, with all our genetic modifications, we haven't made a bigger pig since 1933. This pig was 12-year-old height at the shoulder.
I'm gonna say 1,200 pounds, because that's not as heavy as most cows, I don't think. 39 ounces, about 2.5 pounds. I'm gonna say 480. 480. That's what Elias Buford Butler would say.
480 hedgehogs, final answer?
Yes.
The correct answer is 1,000.
Oh, wow.
1,046.9 hedgehogs.
So it's like a 2,500 pound. No, it's like a
it was
like a 3,000 pound.
2,552.
Oh, wow.
Or 1,157 kilograms.
That is a heavy hog.
That's a lot of bacon. Actually, it's a lot of bacon, I guess, but it's more just pork.
Yeah.
Because bacon is like skin level, right?
I have no idea. All I know is that it's all delicious, except for probably the hooves.
And some people might like that. And dogs like the ears.
They sure do. Are you ready for fast facts?
I am.
Let's figure this guy out. All right, no, you're going to say the major fact. So its diet is bugs, grubs, snails, spiders, some plants, and even scorpions and snakes. It has a high tolerance for toxins, although it doesn't eat them all the time. It's just been recorded eating them. It really helps to have a high tolerance for toxins as a male, like the mongoose, and as a mammal, not a male, but yeah, as a male as well. But like the mongoose, and we were doing an animal recently that had a high tolerance for toxins. Oh, I think it's the platypus.
Yes.
Yeah, it basically forages around and eats whatever it comes across. Since it likes warm climates, it will go into estivation, which is like a low metabolism rest state when it gets into the cooler months. And if it actually gets cold, it'll hibernate. But it does live in Central Africa for a reason, because it doesn't like the cold.
Same.
Really? I don't mind it. I mean, I don't like the freezing, like the frigid snowstorm, but I do like the cool weather.
Same.
So the hedgehog is nocturnal and usually spends its nights hunting alone, eating all those bugs and grubs that I talked about. And it also has to keep an eye out for some tenacious predators, including the eagle owl, which I feel like we should do at some point, because how can we not cover something called an eagle owl? It's just like the coolest thing ever. It sounds like an undefeatable winged monster from legends of yore. Also, the jackal is another predator for the hedgehog, and the infamous honey badger. And something tells me that the honey badger doesn't care one whit about any sort of quills or spikes. Just eat it, quills and all, and digest it. No problem.
The eagle owl does look pretty intense.
The what?
It looks like a guardian of Ga'Hoole himself, you know?
Ga'Hoole?
The eagle owl.
Who's Ga'Hoole?
You never saw that movie, Guardians of Ga'Hoole?
No, is that the one with He-Man in it?
No, it's like a bunch of owls. I think one of them is Elijah Wood.
No, that's the Legend of the Guardians.
Wait, what is Guardians of Ga'Hoole?
I don't know. You're making up words. But that's Legend of the Guardians for sure, that animated movie about the owls.
Oh, it's the same thing. Legend of the Guardians, the Owls of Ga'Hoole.
Oh, gotcha. It's like Edge of Tomorrow, Live, Die, Repeat.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay. So you're not...
The Guardians of Ga'Hoole is the name of the fantasy book series.
You're exonerated. I believe you. I haven't seen the movie. I almost did, though, because it had a 30 Seconds to Mars song as the trailer.
It looked really, it looked really good.
Anyway, I'm done. Those are all my fast facts.
Elijah Wood is not in it, but Hugo Weaving is.
Elijah Wood plays a different bird in Happy Feet.
Oh, that's right. That's what I was thinking of. It was a good time for animated birds.
Yeah. There's even there was the one where the penguins surf.
Oh, this was 2010.
And then there was the one where the turkeys didn't want to be eaten on Thanksgiving. There was one about
Chicken Run?
Carrier pigeons. No, not Chicken Run. There was another one where like the turkeys got together in order to like fight against Thanksgiving in particular. But yeah, you're right. It was a good era to be an animated bird, for sure, or to be in the animated bird movie business.
To be a bird actor.
Yes, that's true. Yes, like Michael Keaton.
Yeah. All right. Let's get into the major fact. I forgot to name it.
That got off the rails.
Yeah. But we can call it sticky spines or something.
Sure. That sounds gross.
hedgehogs have 5,000 spines, which are called spines apparently, and not quills. There's a little bit of a difference between spines and, I guess, there's a difference between hedgehog spines and like porcupine quills. And we'll talk about that. They're made of keratin, the stuff hair, nails, mammal horns, and dreams are made of.
Mm-hmm.
They're
those are some just tough dreams, literally tough dreams.
Yeah, that little known fact, dreams are made of
Keratin. Yes.
They're nearly hollow, though not as hollow as bird feathers. Muscles on the hedgehog's back allow them to smooth down their spines or make them stand up when they feel threatened. But these semi-hollow spines are light and strong, acting as a pointy deterrent to predators. They don't release barbed quills like porcupines, but most predators would think twice about putting a spike ball down their throats anyway.
Unless they're a honey badger.
Unless you're a honey badger or an eagle owl.
Or a jackal.
Yeah. You might have seen these adorable pincushions floating on their backs in bathtubs on Instagram and YouTube. And that's a day well spent. It's a day well spent.
I believe it.
But they have a unique ability to do this because their air pockets in their spines can turn their back into a little boat.
A back boat.
Yeah.
An adorable back boat.
Yeah. In domestic life, it serves the function of looking super cute. In the wild, I can only imagine that this would be really handy in floods and puddles and crossing streams and stuff like that. Just being more buoyant. Did you mention, do they live underground?
I did not mention where they live.
In hedges.
In well-manicured hedges, too.
But
is that why it's in the phylum Chordata? Because it has a good back boat?
And it's covered in spines? Yeah.
Backbone. Making a little pun there.
It's good.
Sure, thanks.
It's good.
I appreciate it. Acknowledge me.
I did.
Thank you.
That's what Joanna says all the time. If we're watching a movie and she and I'm really into the plot and she makes a joke and I'll hear her in the back of my mind I'll hear her say something, but this plot is happening and then all of a sudden she'll go, "Laugh at me."
I'm trying to watch.
She's like, "Laugh at my joke."
And you're like, "Hold on, say it again. Put me back in the right headspace for your joke.
Put me back in the Kubrick." But anyway, those things we've already talked about is not just the end of the interesting stuff they do with their spines. They also have been known to practice something called self-anointing.
You can't do that. You need a prophet.
I was just going to say, no, they don't declare themselves king by divine right. It means they rub aromatic substances all over their bodies.
Oh, I do that. It's called soap.
Yeah, so do I. It's called soap and deodorant. But their goals are different than ours.
Oh.
They want to smell good, or we want to smell good. They want to smell bad. So when they find a particularly strong-smelling substance, they will chew it up and mix it into their saliva until it's a foamy semi-liquid. Then they'll spread the substance all over their spines.
How do they do that? Their hands can't reach that far.
They use their face and tongue.
I'm just trying to picture how this works logistically for a hedgehog.
I've seen 2 videos of it, and they're definitely not getting to the middle of their back, but they are getting to the edges of their spines. I guess
with their hands?
No, with their tongue, with their face and tongue.
They're just okay. I gotta see this.
I mean, I guess the most vital part of their armored defense is the opening around them. So they usually, the videos I saw, that's where they're able to reach.
Okay.
So maybe they don't get to the back part. Maybe it's just around the opening, but that's enough for them. So it's not 100% clear why they do that, but the main theory is that it's a defense mechanism. They've been observed doing this with bad-tasting, pungent, and irritating substances like tobacco, soap, and fecal matter. Ostensibly, this would add to the aversion to eating a hedgehog, right? Not only is it a spiky ball, but it's a stinky spiky ball covered in poop and cigarettes.
Gross. Yes. In the wild.
Yeah, yeah. But I mean, they live in the UK.
No, they live in Africa.
These do live in Africa, but they also live in the UK
because they live all over the world because they're people's pets.
I guess yeah. Tobacco is pretty. It's all over the world.
Yeah, I'm just picturing like wild. Africa's got quite a bit of that.
True. So they also do this with poisonous substances like toxins found on frog skin. It's possible that the poisonous frogs are the main reason they developed this practice. On the other hand, hedgehog pet owners may be confused because they also observe hedgehogs doing this with food they like dog treats and other things that they might enjoy eating. Now, maybe they don't realize it's counterintuitive to smear the food of a predator all over your body. But maybe dog treats are disgusting to a hedgehog, but delicious to a dog. Like fecal matter. That's
true. That's true.
Too.
The hedgehog is just projecting. He's unable to be empathetic and step into the paws of a dog in order to understand what its likes and dislikes.
Well, maybe it's just a side effect because maybe all of these nasty things are repugnant to an owl or a hedgehog, or not a hedgehog, a badger or a jackal. No, a jackal's got to have the same flavor palette as, your typical canine.
Yeah. I imagine that if you gave a jackal a dog treat, he'd thank you and then rip your throat out.
Yeah. And if you gave him another dog's poop, he'd do the same thing.
A honey badger would probably do the same thing. I bet you all three of these animals would eat a dog treat.
Oh yeah. Well, maybe
not an owl.
Maybe not the owl. However, it may be a behavior born from a genetic instinct. Hedgehogs as young as 15 days old have been seen doing this using substances they find, guess where? On their mother's backs. They just steal the nasty liquid from their mothers.
Gross.
Like millennials.
What nasty liquid? It's kombucha.
Yeah. It's for Loco. Energy beer.
That classic mom drink from the previous generation. From Generation X or whatever. For Locos. Mommy's little helper.
Oh. But that's all I got.
All right. They smear themselves with nasty stuff. My dog tries to do that. I'm not really sure exactly what he's smearing on himself, but I know it can't be good.
Oh, well, so I didn't mention, but the spines, when they're covered in something poisonous, can actually inject the poison into predators. And sometimes a hedgehog won't curl into a ball. They will fold down their front spines and actually jab and like ram and jab things. And then sometimes when they're in the ball, they'll constrict their muscles to jab at predators that are sniffing around them. So if that's covered in some frog toxin, it could be very irritating or even potentially sickening to a predator. But maybe injecting fecal matter does the same thing. It's an irritant.
So does it become venom when it takes the poison from a frog and then injects it?
There's another animal that we've talked about.
I know, I'm trying to think of it. It's not the platypus. But it was like it coats its it coats its barbs or spines in a poison that it secretes and then jabs somebody with it.
Was it the tenric?
No, it was more. No. It was a lot more recent than that.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna do research on our own site for once.
I bet it's an underwater animal because I'm trying to think of all the mammals that we've talked about, and I don't think there's many with.
Oh, it's the slow loris.
Oh, that's right.
It has poison glands under its elbow, and it'll lick the poison and then bite somebody, and then that person will be poisoned. So it technically acts as venom.
So it changes its own poison to venom.
Right. But I don't think I'm pretty sure that poison patch is only for that purpose. I don't think it's necessarily on its own a deterrent. I don't know. That was the Slow Loris episode. Go listen to it. But yeah, interesting. I guess it does become venom because it's all about administration. Like politics.
Yeah.
So that was the African pygmy hedgehog for you out there in Podcastia. And let me know if saying Podcastia is a stupid thing to do, because I was just thinking about it today and I'm like, do people find this stupid? I have no idea. So
I think now it's like kind of like Hogwarts to them.
I don't know if it was stupid to start out with and people have just gotten used to it. Anyway, for you out there in Podcastia, the mythical land, keep up the foraging, estivate when it gets cold, and keep your enemy at quill length like the African pygmy hedgehog here in Life, Death, and Taxonomy.
Hey LDT listeners, thanks for listening to the end of the episode. For your loyalty, you get a shameless self-promotion from us. If you haven't already, leaving a review on your favorite podcast app can really help us grow. But telling your podcast-loving friends about us is even better. Also, don't forget to send in your Measure Up intros and animal suggestions to ldtaxonomy@gmail.com. We love hearing from you. As always, thanks, most of all, for listening.
Life, Death, and Taxonomy is my favorite in the world podcast.
Or spine length.
Yeah, I should. I actually.
I don't know for a fact that saying quill is incorrect.
Like, is it a quill if it is detached?